President Trump, just a short time ago, weighing in as Mayor Mamdani and New York Governor Kathy Hochul celebrate. They're very excited about their new plan. It's called the pied-à-terre tax. They say it's going to generate $500 million to fund their socialist agenda, free childcare, free grocery stores, and all that stuff, except the grocery store costs $30 million. It's going to take 3 years to build. So they are, of course, doing this by going after the richest of the richest in the Big Apple. Here's a bit of the mayor's big rollout of this plan.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. They're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world.
Dare I say, the greatest city in the world. Real estate developer Alex Witkoff joins me now. He serves as CEO of the Witkoff Real Estate Company that was founded by his father, Steve, who is now obviously the special envoy to President Trump and traveling all over the world and working on these negotiations. And Steve is back home running the business. So, Steve, thank you very much. Alex, thank you very much for being here. Good to have you with us, Alex.
Thank you so much for having me. Big fan of your show.
Well, thank you. It's good to have you with us. So, explain how you see this, because obviously, I'm sure Mayor Mamdani looks at you and says, yes, he's exactly the type of person that we want to tax more in New York City. So explain what you think the impact of this will be on the people of New York City.
Sure. Well, one, it'd be great if we had a mayor who was more focused on helping everyday Americans instead of viral Instagram and TikTok videos. First off, this is not about a fairness principle. There's tons of transactional costs and taxes in New York City. Obviously, there's an income tax that is the highest in the entire country once you account for both state and city tax. You have a transfer tax. You have a mansion tax that they just redid to now start at over $1 million in 2019. You have annual property taxes. This is nothing more than covering up for decades of financial mismanagement and reckless spending. Kathy Hochul is going to include this in her New York State proposed budget. That's going to be $260 billion. That's up over $100 billion over the past 10 years. Who is feeling the benefit of that? Everyday Americans are not feeling, New Yorkers are not feeling the benefit to that in terms of the school system, in terms of crime, in terms of safety, in terms of the police force, which hasn't grown in decades. This is nothing more than another same old thing, another tax to cover up for their financial mismanagement.
So, one of the things that was pointed out by Bill Ackman actually on social media was that, he said we should be applauding Ken Griffin for $238 million in New York City, not attacking him, because he's basically creating an environment where you put money into the city, more buildings are built, people get jobs, construction, restaurants, all of that is fueled. And he said when these people leave New York City and they move to places like Florida and they have a second home that they kept here, they're not living in that home. They're not draining the school system. They're not draining some of the things that they are paying taxes to help provide for. So your thoughts on that?
People who pay, every single New York resident pays property taxes, and the people who don't live here are your best resources. They pay property taxes, they pay mansion tax, they pay the transfer tax to acquire the property, they spend in our restaurants, they spend in our retail stores, but they don't use our school system, they don't use our resources. That's hugely beneficial. And by the way, there's 300,000 people in New York who are dependent on construction jobs. That's mechanics, that's electricians, that's plumbers. What do you think happens when people stop buying apartments in New York? Construction jobs dry up because people stop investing in the city. And I think the most challenging part about this environment that we're seeing also play out in places like California is this is just the beginning. This is not the end. You're seeing plenty of Democratic Socialists of America, the party that Mamdani pledges his allegiance to, saying that they want more. They want to increase corporate income tax. They want to increase personal income tax. They want to increase property taxes up to 10% on every single New Yorker will feel that. How do you invest in New York market when you don't know what taxes or what new anti-business regulation they'll pass tomorrow? It's impossible to possibly underwrite, and that's the worst environment. That's exactly when you see investment dry up in the market and everyday New Yorkers begin to lose jobs, and it'll be a terrible tragedy.
Well, we have seen an exodus from a lot of these blue states, and it's projected to really shift the electoral college count when you get to the next election. You take a look at the potential based on the movement of people to places like Florida and Texas. I know your business is in Miami as well as New York. It looks like because of that demographic shift, GOP could pick up 7 seats and the Democrats could lose 7 seats in these blue states thanks to these policies. But they don't seem to be wise to that, or at least they don't care enough about it. They'd rather tax people out of some of these places.
Well, look, Florida is the exact opposite. When you see what Governor DeSantis is trying to do in this state, he's not trying to figure out how do I raise taxes on people to try to, cover our, constantly increasing budget deficit. He's actually focused on how do I reduce property taxes for people who live in Florida, not how do I stifle business and tell people they're not welcome here. He's focused on reducing the taxes for everyday Floridians, and that's the exact type of mindset that New York should adapt. By the way, this idea of a pied-à-terre tax is not new. It exists in some form in Toronto. It's about to be installed in Rhode Island this July. And Paris has installed some element of it since 2014. Since they've installed it, over 100,000 people have left Paris, and they have one of the highest home prices in the entire world. This isn't new. It's existed, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, well, those are pretty interesting tests for how it pans out. I know Mamdani always says, oh, rich people, what difference does it make? They'll pay a few $1 million. They're not going to leave the city. They love the city. But we see that it not playing out that way in these demographic shifts. Alex, thank you. Great to have you with us. Thank you for joining me today.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.